So my parents were divorced when I was really young, and so every other weekend I'd go stay with my dad at his apartment, and it was always the coolest thing, and he was so exotic. And he had tattoos all over his arm, and he had lizards for pets, and he listened to heavy metal, and it was just the most exciting thing I could possibly ever do, and he didn't make me follow any rules or go to bed on time. But he was kind of poor, and I didn't know why, and there wasn't really anything fun to do there, so this one particular weekend, I packed all of my toys and my coloring supplies, and this $20 bill in case he took me to this really cool record store with graffiti all over the side. And I was super excited, but my chunky little 12-year-old body couldn't get the stuff up the stairs. I mean, I looked like a pale Oompa Loompa just struggling with the stuff. And so my mom was helping me up the stairs, and she gets into the doorway, and her face just scrunches up. And she looks like she smells something terrible. And, you know, I'm just like bouncing from foot to foot, like, isn't it great? And she's like, yeah, it's cool. And she just like, she won't come in the door, like the room has cooties, and my dad says, hey, I won't help her with the bags, and then she asked me if I need anything really concerned, and I say no. And so my dad tells me about this really cool movie he got, and he can't wait to watch it, and I'm excited to watch it, and then he tells me you're too young. And it stunned me. I mean, my jaw dropped because he let me watch outrageously inappropriate things on his staticky, bulbous TV all the time, and I just didn't understand why I was too young all of a sudden. But I said okay, and I went to go color, and it wasn't really doing it for me because all I had were markers, and they just bleed through the paper, and I couldn't make the masterpiece that I just knew I was capable of. So I went to go knock on my dad's door, and the smell was coming through the door, and it kind of smelled like his whole apartment, but intensified and kind of nastier and burnt. And I thought back to the middle school bus, where kids are making sex jokes, and they're talking about smoking weed, basically where all the legitimate information comes from. And I thought, no, the middle school bus just had to be wrong. It was wrong for once, and I went back to my coloring, and he didn't say goodnight. And that night I, tried to fall asleep in my chair again, and my neck was hurting, and the little crickets had escaped from the hole in the mesh at the top of the tank, and I just knew that they were crawling in my ears and all over me, and there was a siren, and I knew somebody was going to burst through the door and murder me, and Jay Leno was on the TV smiling at me like a complete weirdo. And so I did my best, and in the morning he came out, he asked me if I was hungry, and he said, well, yeah, but all I could find was a trash bag full of dirty dishes. And he's like, yeah, I didn't want to wash them, so I thought I'd throw them away. And he goes to find some food, and he can't find anything. So he decides we'll go to the grocery store. And I go to his bathroom to change, and there's stubble all over the counter, and there's no toothpaste, and I can't see if I look cute or not because the mirror is just covered in his saliva and hard water. So I do the best that I can, and I go back out, and he's just tearing the apartment apart, frantically searching for money. He's emptying out change jars and digging in his dirty, pants, and emptying out his wallet, and he can't find a cent. He's cussing, and the apartment is a wreck. And I remember the $20 bill that I have in my backpack, and it's burning a hole in my brain, and I see it in there. And I mean, I worked hard for this money. I did chore after chore for 2 weeks, saving up, and I just did not want to spend it on groceries. I really didn't. But I knew that if I didn't give it to him, we weren't going to eat for the rest of the weekend. So, and I also knew that if I handed it to him, he probably wouldn't say thank you. And I couldn't stand to have my hard-earned allowance ripped from my hands with such ingratitude. So I hid it in a pile of junk on a table. And I said, hey, Dad, have you looked here? And he finds the money, and he has it in his pocket, and we're good to go. So we head to the store, and he throws some cereal in the car, and I think, cool, I can eat now. And then we end up on the alcohol aisle, and he fills the car with beer. And my stomach just drops, and I can't breathe for a minute. And we get into the car, and I'm just livid. Like, I can't speak to him. I don't understand why he isn't doing what he's supposed to do, and my allowance has gone to beer. And we get back, and I stick it out for the rest of the weekend, and my mom comes to pick me up. And she asked me how it went, and I couldn't answer her. I couldn't describe the feeling. I was worried about him. I was worried that without my money, he wouldn't be able to eat. And I didn't want to feel that way because, you know, it was his job to worry about me. And, you know, I just felt let down. And after that, I didn't look forward to going to his apartment anymore because I saw him for the wreck that he was, and it just wasn't fun anymore. And from then on out, when I would get money for my birthday or Christmas, my mom would ask me if I wanted to go to the store, and I really wanted some lip gloss, and I really wanted that new doll that came out. But I said no, and I put it in a savings account that I called my emergency fund.